Yeah, I know I've talked about Amphibia a lot on this channel, but I can't help myself. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And yes, I do mean shows. I'm not old enough to watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul or Succession or The Sopranos yet, so I still have yet to watch those. But for now, I'm stuck with cartoons. But damn it, I'm stuck with some goddamn fine cartoons. Amphibia is one of my favorite shows of all time. And so we're gonna dedicate it to the best episodes the show has to offer. I bet you already know what's number three, two, and one, but actually you probably know every number in this list, but I'm still gonna make this because I still want to talk about it the episodes in my own words. So without further ado, this is the top 10 Amphibia episodes. And keep in mind, this is just my opinion, but I think it's universally agreed what number one is was the best episode of the entire show. Yeah, so let's go. Also, thank you for the amount of views for this video. It took a long time to make. So let's begin. Number 10, we have the new normal. This is a nice way to ease people into the big shock that was True Colors. Which have I talked about? No, I haven't. I will eventually. It is on the list. Big shock. But yeah, this is a nice way to ease people into season 3. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention spoilers for the video. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning, but oh well. I want to talk about these episodes. So yeah. After the shocking events of True Colors, this is the beginning of the Anne and the Planters on Earth, and where Anne reunites with her parents, and her parents meet the Planters. We also get to see Anne use her calamity powers a bit more in this episode after what happened in True Colors, but also yeah, but it isn't as powerful as it is in the previous episode. But yeah, this episode is really funny, has really good animation, a really good fight scene. And yeah, this is just a really good, really great episode and a nice way to ease us into the final season of this brilliant show. And number 9 is Froggy Little Christmas. This is a fun little Christmas episode that has a lot of great moments in it, both comedy and dramatic wise. Especially in the comedy. This is a really funny episode. And it's definitely not like the Shut-In, which is I really hate. It's one of my least favorite episodes, and the only episode, actually, it's my least favorite episode of the whole show. It's the only episode I would call bad, because it really sucks. But yeah, the planters learn about Christmas for the first time, and yep, hilarious hijinks ensue. Uh, This episode marks the return of King Andreas, the main villain of the show. Who we haven't seen. Actually, he was in a few episodes earlier, but still, yeah, this marks the return of King Andreas, who is out to kill Anne and the planters, which, yeah, evil. But yeah, the scenes with him in this are really funny, and I'm just slapping my head thinking about the hilarious scenes. And the ending is probably the best part of the episode, where there's a very interesting reveal that hasn't been properly confirmed yet, but at the same time, yeah. Oh yeah, we also get to hear the core talk for the first time, the real main villain of the show. But yeah, this is a great episode and a very good mid-season finale. Escape to Amphibia was supposed to be the mid-season finale of season 3, but Disney being Disney, this is the mid-season finale instead. And number 8 is Toadcatcher. This is a less fun and more action-packed episode, as we get introduced to General Yunin, one of my favorite characters in the show. She is so funny. Yeah, so her introduction is really, yeah, funny. She's a really funny character, and I like her a lot. Yeah, so we see the aftermath of Sasha and Grime after the events of Reunion, which is one of the best episodes of the show. Oh yeah, and we see really early of how really cruel and heartless this character is, especially by the clips I'm showing right now. The fight scene between her and Sasha is really funny and cool and action packed, and seeing Grime just become a, just become an average Discord user is really funny, and I like the concept. Yeah, so great action, really good comedy, uh, great character moments. Yeah, this is just a really great episode that I highly recommend watching. And number 7 is Olivia and Yunin, another Yunin episode. Good job. I don't know what the writers were on when they were writing this episode, because this is by far the darkest episode of the entire show. Like, it's darker than True Colors, and I don't know how you can just accomplish that. The nightmare projections are really horrifying and definitely given to the show's dark factor. It has a really horrific ending, and even more horrific end credits. But yeah, most of this episode is, yeah. But yeah, this is not a kid-friendly episode. The dark moments just go really dark. And we also get to see a lot of Andres' plan for what he's gonna do. But yeah, and there are a few funny moments, but at the same time, it's not really meant to be funny. But it does have those moments, especially with sort of drunk Marcy. Also, Unit with the flower in the head, I eventually find hot. I find both of them hot. What can I say? What can I say? Olivia and Noonan are great characters and hot characters. Also, there's a bit of dark humor in it, and I really like it. I'm not going to say where it is. Watch the episode. Number 6 is Hopping Mall. The episode is notorious for having a really depressing ending, but it does have a lot of great funny moments as well, especially a fight scene in the middle. It's really emotional and a really good character moment for all the characters, including introduced new ones as well. But yeah, I like. It's also really funny, but man, this ending is literally one of the saddest scenes of the entire show, and I do not know how anyone could get through it without even legit feeling sad. You would have to be made of nails to not feel sad at the scene. Reunion is probably one of the best season finales I've ever seen. Season 1 was a fine enough season. It's like a 7, but in fact, it would be a 6 if it didn't have this episode and another episode. Episode 10A, I think. Actually, no, just episode 10 in general, just both of the episode 10s. But yeah, this episode is just brilliant. The writing is really sharp. It's really funny. It's really intense. The fight scene, which I'm just gonna quickly move ahead to, is shockingly dramatic. And we really get to see into how much of a truly messed up individual Sasha really is. And also we get insights on how the three character on how and Sasha and Marcy actions towards each other is what led them to come to Amphibia in the first place. And for them to realize that maybe they weren't the best of friends to each other after all. But yeah, the fight scene is really intense. The ending is really emotional. The episode's really funny throughout. The animation is sort of bumped up to notch, but at the same time it not really isn't. In fact, the backgrounds are just brilliant. Yeah, this is just a great finale to season 1, and definitely goes very well into season 2. Number 4 is Marcy at the Gates. This is the episode where we get introduced to Marcy, one of my favorite characters on the show, my third favorite actually, only behind Hop Up and of course Polly. This episode introduces Marcy in a really cool way, and the arc that she goes through in the episode with Anne is very cool and emotional. Sprig's jealousy is kind of funny sometimes. Polly's running joke of wanting to guess like the crossbow is really funny because of course Polly's the best character. There's a lot of funny moments. The arcs are really cool. It has a lot of good emotion. Of course, we don't really learn how Marcy is the most screwed up character on the entire show. Not screwed up as in she becomes a bad character, screwed up as in she's screwed up in mind, which doesn't make her likable. But yeah, we will get to that episode in the future. But for now, Marcy at the Gates is one of my favorite episodes in the entire show, and I can definitely see why Marcy would be some people's favorite characters. And now we jump from the episodes that are like 8.5 out of 10s to 9 out of 10s, because All In is a 9 out of 10 episode. It is one of the best episodes in the entire show. Its leaps qualities better than Marcy at the Gates, which is still a pretty fantastic episode, but this episode excels in so many ways. First off, this is a finale episode, and the finale episodes of shows are usually really good. And this is definitely an example of that. It's really funny. It has a lot of great action. The animation increases a lot. It has a lot of good music in it. But there are a lot of dark moments in this episode. For example, Hop, Polly, and Sprig trying to cope with seeing the herons. Is that what they're called? That killed. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, their parents were killed. And it's nice to see their arc of how they try to cope with the death of Sprig and Polly's parents. Oh yeah, and we get this little moment right here. Yeah, that's right. Grimes' arm is taken off. I do not know how Disney let this slide, but this is a really dark moment. Also, I forgot to mention that Darcy, who is like evil Marcy, Dark Marcy, as the show calls us, is a really good villain and a really good combination of Darcy's smarts and the Core's smarts. Has a really lot of dark moments in it, and yeah, the defeat of Darcy is really cool and really well animated. It's a really dark moment. Cool animation, great storytelling, just bah! I don't know how to describe it. This episode is completely incredible. This is an episode that you should definitely watch. I was excited for this episode out of my mind when it came out, and the hype was worth it. You know, it finally clicked with me why The Hardest Thing is the second best episode in the entire show, and one of the best episodes in cartoon history. This is an episode that should seem just your typical finale. Big stakes, great action, really good foreshadowing to a previous episode. This is an episode that should seem like a typical finale. Then it hits you at a moment that anyone watching the show remembered on the day it came out. The scene where all three girls get their full calamity powers, and it's an absolutely fantastic moment in the show that anyone watching should really agree with is probably one of the best scenes. But then Anne decides to sacrifice herself for the others and for the entirety of Amphibia, as they try to pull the core moon back, but it doesn't work as it's still going on. But then Anne is unfortunately, well, she dies. And you'd think that was where it would end, but no, it keeps going. Of course, I think that the shot next is kind of a tease, because you would think there was a foreshadowing that her arm would be taken off, but unfortunately it wasn't. Unfortunately, it's good for the character, but it's not good for us, because the show could have gone real dark there, but it didn't, and that's not really cool. I mean, there was a character that did lose his. Grime did lose his arm, so I guess that's sort of cool enough, I guess. But yeah, Anna's transported to this magical like world where the Three Stones deity, which presents itself as a computer first, then her cat. Yeah, so basically Anne died, and the Three Stones, Calamity Stones, deity decides to make her the the protector of the Calamity Stones, but then she tells the yeah, because how do I describe this? Anne tells the Three Stones deity that everyone makes mistakes and nobody's perfect. And another big lesson that the episode and the entire show teaches is that change is okay. You have to go through with this. Everyone does. Of course, she goes back to Amphibia and, well, the proper universe as a second copy, because the original Anne is pretty much dead. The emotional ending is probably one of the best scenes of the entire show because we really feel for the characters and how much they've been through throughout these 3 seasons and 3 years of this incredible show. The ending is really cool, is really like emotional, and it really presents of how far our characters have gone. Also, Anne gives Sprig her phone, and it's just a really dramatic close to this increasingly increasingly getting better series that's just really had to hit people to the guts as it ended. Of course, then we get one of the best pieces of animation in the show, where it finally decides to go for the extra increase. And now, Sprig and Anne are split apart, with the remembrance of the 3 main characters now gone. And I think the message of the show is summed up best in the final scene.
Change can be difficult, but it's how we grow. It can be the hardest thing to realize you can't hold on to something forever. Sometimes you have to let it go. But of the things you let go, you'd be surprised what makes its way back to you.
That's how you end a show. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about what's number one. You all know what's the number one, so I'm going to dedicate an episode of my thoughts of to it. Fortunately, I don't have enough time to actually do it because, I don't run the show. Rich TRM does, so he's going to review it since we pretty much have the exact same opinions about the episode. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this ranking, and stay tuned tomorrow because you'll see what is the best episode of Amphibia. But you already know what it is, but I'm going to say what I think of it. Goodbye.